I went to graduate school in organic chemistry, so sometimes that language just feels natural to me. Like I think most
Totally
people wouldn't,
sensible.
yeah, wouldn't think of like precipitate as causing. But if you're a chemist, like, oh, I've got this one thing, and then but then I add this other reagent, or I chill it, or whatever, and then like you do something, and then here's this thing. So precipitate as in to
I
cause.
mean, you can
And
actually tell a lot of the time what sort of schooling people have based on the
right,
kind of language they use.
yes,
Uh, it's one of those things that like you're probably not paying attention to it. I sometimes pay attention to it, and it's pretty noticeable. But like
yeah,
in a that's cute way, not in like an oh my god I hate engineers way.
right. So all right, we got another. Oh, but yeah, going back to all right. So the order came in for Guinevere 1, and I'm just going to use it as saying I could probably move about this many copies, and it's around 1,500. And so I'm now looking at all right. And my diamond rep's like, yeah, Zenoscope. I didn't know, but Zenoscope's been doing this since the 90s. So they have a bit of a head start on me in terms of fans and readership and so on. But we're starting small and we're growing.
Well, Zenoscope, like it's going to show up in shops. The same
Yes.
shops will probably be interested in your stuff. And you've got a Zenoscope artist on Palace.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's going to be. Actually, I think that might be part of your pitch to shops. Have you started putting that together yet?
I'm working on it, but if we go ahead, I'm taking suggestions. What do you got?
Well, okay, I mean, so this is sort of hard to explain, and I'm not like 100% on this. This is partially
Right.
based on like a couple of times going to shops around Detroit
Mm-hmm.
and just seeing how stuff is here. But there's basically like two kinds of comic shops. There's we do Marvel and DC subscription comic shops.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's we do stuff for kids and have indie books comic shops. And they also have some Marvel stuff, but like there's the subscription people, there's like the we're general audiences people, and then somewhere in between there's like the we love comics and do a bit of everything shops.
Right.
Right. So your general audience, like you're not going to sell to the Marvel DC shops because they only care about Marvel and DC.
Right. Yes.
Unless you already know them, at which point they might.
And there's a place here.
Those are the neckbeard shops, right?
Yeah.
But the other two, like if they're doing kind of adult content and they'll carry Zenoscope, they'll carry you, especially because your next project. If they won't do it for White Lily, which is general audiences,
right?
They will do it for Palace because they're a Zenoscope artist, and so you need to like mention that in the letter. Hey, if you like Zenoscope, I've got the Zenoscope guy who's worked on ABC.
Yeah,
he's done this great book. It's also sexy. Plus, we've got a D&D thing we can sell you.
Yep. Exactly.
Right?
The whole package.
And that's got to be like how you pitch it.
I'm going to be attending Origins, which is a game fair, and like I used to go back when I was like a teenager because I was a gamer. So this is like the big yearly pilgrimage you would make for your gaming passion.
And Origins are the two big game RPG sort of things, right?
Exactly. Well, I'm attending now as a vendor because hey, I've written a book for gaming, and but I'm going to be mostly selling like comic books, and I've discovered from doing like game shows, like almost everybody there at game shows is of a certain profile selling a certain product. Like for the most part, they've been gaming like their whole lives. They've written a number of modules. They've got it there on their stuff. They're there to sell role-playing stuff, typically in like a specific niche, like with a certain system in mind. Like Call of Cthulhu, stuff like that. Whereas I'm there just selling comic books that have sexy ladies and booby stickers, and like I make a killing because nobody else is selling that. Everybody else is selling game shit, and I'm selling boobs. And I do.
Yeah, I should go to some game shows.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, like at the end of the thing, I'll just be cleaning up and just be watching people like stack their books. I'm like, I moved a lot of product. You guys should look into sex appeal. But okay, so we have a stage 32 script. which is English is not this person's native language, so I think there was some translation stuff too. But in looking at it, I want to say it's kind of an interesting style. Here, let me see if I can zoom in. Boom.
And as usual for Stage 32 scripts, we know that if this is intended to be a screenplay or a comic.
Screenplay.
Okay.
Yeah. They're all going to be screenplays.
Well, I know some of the people have come on the Discord and said, "Oh no, I'm really aiming for a comic here."
Yeah, well, I mean, they should because like quite frankly, look, my question is really simple, right? If I say, "Hey, there's a convention this weekend," in fact, I saw on Facebook, I shared like the first table picture I ever did, and it was at a local show. And looking at it, I'm like, I have nothing to sell. And, it was the first show I ever did. But also, like I came out of screenwriting where you have nothing to sell, as a screenwriter, except your screenplay. And who's going to buy that?
Nobody reads screenplays for fun.
Yeah. So whenever there's like a pop culture convention or any place where you could actually develop fans and monetize your art, screenwriters never have any chance to do that. Like, so if you said, "Hey, I'm having a horror con this weekend, I'm going to give you a free table because you're cool." If you're a horror actor, you can, sell autographed pictures or something. But if you're a horror writer, unless you have some novels, like what are you going to sell? Whereas if you're in comics, now you have merch. And now you can get
unless
fans.
You have a horror movie or a horror short.
Exactly. Yeah. If you have a horror movie, and that's where like it's not about screenwriting, it's about like producing,
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna read this. Let's go.
Okay.
Exterior, University Entrance 1, spring day. Large house. Sign, physics, mathematics, statistics. Park bench, garden chairs. Large soft bushes near the wall. Birdsong. Exterior, CIA entrance, spring day.
Like I noticed like this is a real style of screw verbs, and I'm kind of okay with it.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I mean, these can all be shots. These are, you at least know what's going to be in the scene.
Mm-hmm.
You're not, doing like terrible ekphrasis forever, which is one of my downfalls sometimes and can lead to very wordy scripts. So yeah, it's a real thing. Like this is filmable.
Yeah.
Ugly house, sign CIA. The main door is made of wood. No, man, wood door. Let's go.
Well, if it's Google Translate, that could be.
That's fair. Loungers. See, that's a word where I think translate might be an issue.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's people or chairs. Empty beer cans on the ground. A shovel is stuck in the ground near the dustbin. Thunder. Pauline, a 30-year-old woman dressed in black, enters the house. And there you go. There's a human with action, and that's a perfectly grammatical sentence.
Yeah.
Interior, Pauline's office room day. Normally furnished office room, an office chair and a regular chair, rainbow sticker on the wall, closed cupboard large enough to hold bottles of liquor. Photo frame on desk. In the photo frame, there is a large photo of an infant and a small photo of a small grave.
Oh boy.
Pauline.
All right, John.
Stop teasing me. Visiting a pride festival is legal.
Door slams. Pauline enters, turns on the light, picks up the photo frame, and looks sadly at the photos. Pauline puts on a piece of music from the 1960s, loads a handgun, then works at a computer. Doorbell. Pauline turns off the music and exits. Door opens.
I'm Assistant Special Agent Pauline Cooper. Oh God, impossible.
Light bulb stops working.
I'll inform Supervisory Inspector Gunpowder.
That's a hell of a name.
That is.
Yeah.
Door. It's a very like 70s name. Door closes. Pauline enters with a piece of paper and puts it on the desk. Pauline puts on the aforementioned piece of music and changes the broken light bulb. Gunpowder, a 50-year-old unshaven man who is sloppily dressed, rushes in and takes cover. Pauline gives the piece of paper to Gunpowder, turns off the music, and exits. Gunpowder reads, then puts down the piece of paper.
Unfortunately, you should not try to find your husband right now. I tell my uncle.
Door closes. Pauline enters.
Uncle Gunpowder, there is progress.
As usual, by the way, I tried to call you on Friday evening.
Poor coverage on the train.
Did you visit our relatives?
Pauline shakes her head.
It was so dark that my neighbor's wife pointed out Andromeda when we visited her summer college.
Now I know.
It's nobody.
No, I'm sorry. You're right. Nobody I know.
The galaxy.
All right, John can't pronounce cottage.
Yeah.
The galaxy in the sky.
Pauline points upwards.
Can you work overtime tonight?
The more the better.
As usual, and I understand. By working, you try to get over everything that led to the funeral.
Pauline looks sadly at the photo frame.
Yes, so I'm very happy with my job.
Why did you turn off? That music appeared familiar. Or what did you turn off? What did you turn off? Yeah.
I received it from our informant at the university. It was popular when she was a student.
I think I heard it as a teenager.
The first time she heard the song was when the television had a memorial program.
What memorial?
20 years since Marilyn Monroe died.
Ask that bookworm if she knows anything new.
I'll ask Professor Bach immediately.
Gunpowder crumples up the piece of paper and throws it behind Pauline. Pauline picks it up.
Leave your alcohol here so you don't fall asleep in the middle of the road.
Uncle, please. Grandma goes mad when you behave like that.
Gunpowder exits. Pauline takes a hip flask out of her pocket, puts it on the desk, and exits. Exterior, University Entrance 2, Spring Day. Large house with staircase and grand entrance. Sign, Chancellor's Office. Albert, a 6-year-old man with glasses and office gray clothing, enters and rings the door phone.
This is Associate Professor Albert Zweinstein. Is the Chancellor free?
Noise. Distressed Albert shakes his head, covering his ears. Albert rings the door phone.
Remind the Chancellor, the editor of our local newspaper likes it when I point out problems.
Noise. Distressed Albert shakes his head, covering his ears. Albert rings the door phone. Window opens. Albert looks up. Flower pot misses Albert. Window closes. Albert rings the door phone.
If the Chancellor is not available, I'll come back, and the newspaper editor too.
Window opens. Albert looks up. A pile of papers is thrown at Albert. A cardboard box comes after. Albert bends down and looks at the pile of papers.
Then the newspaper writes about the problem.
Window closes. Albert gathers the pile of papers. Pauline enters and helps Albert gather the pile of papers.
You're kind.
Pauline smiles.
Thanks. Do you work here?
Next door. My financier pays me to prove statistically that authorities make mistakes.
Good luck. Can you tell?
Pauline holds her phone so Albert can read.
That house. The door after the scaffolding.
Albert points out of the picture. Pauline smiles.
Thanks. I'm not surprised. That renovation has caused people to change their office rooms. There, yeah.
Pauline
I was right.
hands Albert the last pieces of paper and leaves. Albert buttons on his phone, shakes his head, looks toward the entrance, leaving with the pile of papers. Interior, Pauline's office room, day. Gunpowder enters with a can, picks up the photo frame, sticks out his tongue, and puts the photo frame back. Gunpowder unscrews the cap from Pauline's hip flask, pours in from the can, screws on the cap, shakes the hip flask, laughs sadistically, puts the hip flask on the deck, and exits with his can. Interior, Bertha's office room, day. Office room, which looks expensive. A desk with a computer. An office chair and a regular chair. Almost empty bookshelves. An overflowing trash can. Empty wine glasses. Bottles of wine. Bertha, a snobbishly dressed 55-year-old woman with German intonation, works at a computer. The aforementioned piece of music is playing. Knock. Pauline enters. Bertha turns off the music.
Hello, Bertha.
Bertha waves back. Pauline sits down heavily.
Does my favorite professor know anything new about the university's idiots?
Bertha hands Pauline a piece of paper. Pauline reads and puts the piece of paper on her.
So that von Asperger is an extraterrestrial idiot.
What about your future?
Work, 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 so I can forget.
Pauline stands up.
I understand your feelings. Hope you get something fun to do.
Unfortunately not. Uncle Gunpowder has no goal. He just flees from trouble.
Bertha nods.
Okay, he wants to murder the idiot in the ivory tower. So I nag him to try to get the idiot out of the office.
Does Herr Dumpkopf want to take that risk?
He wants his wife to show him respect, and he hopes someone else will do the job.
Who?
I'll know soon, but he is stupid.
Does Herr Dumpkopf listen?
Grandpa wants him to listen.
Pauline exits. Interior, Gunpowder's office room day. Normally furnished office room with desk, computer, etc. The decor is in brown. Shredder on the floor. A closed cupboard large enough to accommodate a moonshine machine. All right, let's go. Gunpowder works the computer. Pauline enters with a piece of paper and hands it to Gunpowder. Gunpowder reads.
I just want to say that a moonshine machine is a still. So it's a still.
Unless it's like, you know, a poor translation of some kind of like astrological computer.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah. That was all she had today.
Gunpowder sneezes.
COVID?
I'm vaccinated.
Gunpowder crumples up the piece of paper and throws out.
You wouldn't mind if Professor Bach is sent to the opposite edge of the universe.
Gunpowder looks at Pauline curiously.
I watched a popular science television program. Teleportation may be possible.
Do the idiots at the university drink the same poison as the world's most incompetent niece?
I love this dialogue. Uncle, grandma goes mad if you talk like that, and you usually benefit from me taking the initiative.
Gunpowder glares at Pauline.
You have an important visitor at Pentecost. I'll gladly be cooking.
You must do other things first.
I can visit the cemetery immediately.
Pauline exits. Gunpowder exits. Thud.
Ouch.
In flies the crumpled piece of paper.
Like,
what's up with all these papers? This is
like,
so
sometimes
turbid.
I feel like they're communicating in code, because this dialogue is like what are they?
But like this is actually like moving along at a good pace.
Yeah.
Interior cemetery, spring day. Ordinary deserted cemetery with a church, parking lot, bench, trash can, and hedge. Marlene, a 20-year-old expensively dressed woman with a purse, sits on a bench with her hands clasped.
Amen. There you go.
Marlene reads text messages on her phone and takes notes on a piece of paper. Text message. Marlene checks her phone and calls.
Hi, Albert. Please calculate for me. God wants me to earn money from the CIA's stupidities. Kiss, kiss.
Marlene ends the phone call, hears a car approaching, turns around, laughs ominously, and stands so she is not visible from the parking lot. In the parking lot, Pauline and Gunpowder get out of the car. Pauline takes a shovel out of the trunk of her car, the same shovel that is in the CIA entrance. Pauline walks towards the hedge. Gunpowder follows. Pauline looks sadly at the graves and the church. Marlene enters.
You're giving yourself trouble if you obstruct the CIA's work.
Marlene reaches for Gunpowder's nose. Gunpowder recoils and holds his nose.
Blame yourself if you don't realize that the CIA has good contacts with psychiatry.
Marlene bursts out laughing.
You have shady business contacts.
Quote Psalms, chapter 119, verse 18, next time you pray to God.
You talk so crazy that your driver's license can be revoked.
Everybody in this script talks great.
I know. I'm like,
It's a translation thing. You have
Open
to-
my eyes that I may see wonderful things in your law.
oh God, open your own eyes and you will notice that you waste time.
Marlene pulls up a folded piece of paper from her purse and hands it to Pauline. Pauline reads and hands to Gunpowder. Gunpowder reads, angrily crumples up the piece of paper and throws it away. It's like every seed. He
There's a lot of paper.
crumples up papers.
Yeah.
Pauline picks up the crumpled piece of paper, unfolds it, goes to the car with the piece of paper and the shovel. Gunpowder follows. Pauline grins. Interior, Pauline's office room, day. Pauline enters. Gunpowder enters and stands at the doorway. Pauline puts down the folded piece of paper that Marlene left and turns to the doorway.
Please, Uncle, I'll fix what Miss Billionaire wrote. I can work all night.
Gunpowder shakes his head.
Yes, I do. She should hang herself together with the idiot in them. In the ivory tower. There.
Gunpowder nods. Exterior, University Entrance 1, Spring Day. It's a new day, so the characters are in different clothes. Albert works with a pile of papers. Marlene enters behind Albert's back.
When is he going to start throwing the papers?
Yeah.
Albert!
It started, come on, man. Albert turns around.
Good morning, Marlene.
Are you no longer a workaholic?
The craftsmen make noise.
Problems?
The tube mail started to malfunction. Then more problems were discovered.
Tube mail?
The old analog system to send small things.
I hope all goes well.
No panic. Yesterday, I finalized the calculations for your company.
Albert pulls up a folded piece of paper from his shirt pocket and hands it to Marlene.
Did you work on a holiday?
Did you spend Easter with your congregation?
Text message. Marlene checks her phone.
Problems?
A spy at Grandpa's company.
I hope something better happens.
Marlene holds her phone so Albert can read.
Plenty to do in your treatment centers.
Yes, and the prostitutes tell amazing stories.
There you go. Nothing surprises when it comes to the CIA.
Marlene reads the piece of paper that Albert gave her and laughs ominously.
You have again shown that Asperger's syndrome is great.
I enjoy it.
I think there's a lot of people with it that might disagree.
Yeah. Thanks. Easy to show that somebody gave you nonsense to cheat you.
Marlene buttons on her phone.
I'll send your payment immediately.
Thanks a lot. Now I should spend time on teaching and administration.
Do something fun before I need you again.
I plan to continue doing what people ask me to do. All right, so that's 10 pages.
All right. I'm going to grab a sip of water, so I'll be back in a second.
Okay. So I switched browsers this time. I'm now on the wonderful Microsoft Edge, and it doesn't crash when I like the way Chrome was for whatever reason. When I was in StreamYard in Chrome and I would unshare the window, it would like close everything, and that was a pain. But Microsoft Edge, turns out that's what I needed to do. All right, so we have some characters. We have Pauline, and she interacts with some folks, some guys, like a maintenance guy. There's a lot of talk about the CIA. Although I don't know if I saw any CIA agents, but I saw a lot of people like this. The CIA was mentioned on every page. There were certainly some dumb people. Like the script makes multiple mentions of the Doomkoffs and the idiots. I'm not exactly sure who they are. We'll get to that kind of in constructives, but clearly there are people. There seems to be a conspiracy that Pauline is a part of that involves the CIA, and that's an interesting premise. That's what I got so far. John.
yeah, it was interesting.
That's all you got for me?
Well, Pauline makes an interesting character. She has
Okay.
some background.
Yes.
You know, like it was kind of obvious from a visual perspective. Yeah, I guess. Okay, there we go. Visually, it works. The way, like Danny said too when he was reading it, the way the shots are constructed, they're very visual. Like we can connect with Pauline, with like the photo of the child in the grave. I mean, that's kind of like obvious what that's communicating.
Mm-hmm.
So the visual cues were there. It was easy to follow in that regard.
Okay, well, I thought it was a bunch of promise in here, as I mentioned. The way the scenes are described was fine, and the way that you described the people was fine. You definitely given us the sense that this is a thing happening at a university. There is something spy going on. There's some sort of secret activity. There are questions that need to be answered, which is very obvious through the constant use of the motif of folded papers, which I have some constructives about, but I mean, it did its job.
Right.
And you did successfully create 5 or 6 kind of interesting characters who hate each other and have no choice but to work together. That's the impression I got. So if this is meant to be some kind of like comedy of fool type project, it may well be on the right track.
All right, constructives. Go ahead.
The papers thing was like every scene. That was just show us. Although everyone hates each other, and like there wasn't really an obvious consistent conflict. It was go around here, go around there, go around here, dig up a body, go around here, go over here. Like, let's talk about the stars. So aside from the secrecy aspect and the setting, there wasn't really a good idea of like who the story's about or like what that person wants. Although I do suspect it's Pauline for all the reasons John mentioned.
Yes. I mean, my note would be the characters seem to understand what the conflict is, but the audience does not. I'm kind of in the dark. I'm like, okay, what are the stakes?
I'm attributing this to being a translation issue with the dialogue.
Right. Yeah.
Which is why I didn't discuss it.
Well, look, it's people need to know, and you know, the opening 15-20 pages of your screenplay, who's the main character, who's driving the action, and what is the conflict that is driving this story? You know, we need those questions answered. I know that there are dumb people and there are smart people, or at least people who fancy themselves as smarter than other people who are involved in some sinister conspiracy. Well, at least secretive. It seems a bit sinister.
Well, they're laughing maniacally.
Yeah. This is involved in a sinister conspiracy. To what end, I have no idea. And really against who, I have no idea. And I need those questions answered fairly soon.
All I will add is that so I watch a lot of foreign movies. So but most foreign movies are professionally subtitled, and this is probably machine translated. So I don't want to disparage that too much, but most of the more, we'll say, popular foreign language films are typically not dialogue heavy, and this script is very dialogue heavy, and it relies you to understand what the characters are saying to each other. So that needs to be communicated clearly, which unfortunately it's not in this script. as I said, a professional English translator would probably have done a much better job. So then that would have been communicated, because that's typically how subtitles go and stuff like that. But yeah, that's just kind of the thing. I would say if that's not available to you and you want to try to market your screenplay to an American audience, don't focus on the dialogue so much. Focus more on the narrative and the action, because then you can do that. It's one of the reasons why comedies don't typically have the international. Well, to put it another way, the American movies that do well overseas are typically your action movies, and if it is a comedy, it's more of a physical comedy. So it doesn't have to rely on you being super familiar with the culture and the language. So they tend to shy away from that in the American movies that tend to do well overseas. So that's something I would say, if your goal is to try to reach more of an American readership, and you don't have the budget for professional translation for dialogue, then focus more on action and, tell us more visually and not rely so much on the dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good note. I feel like the dialogue,
it was very on the nose,
yes,
which would be my normal comment. Yes. But again, if that's a translation thing,
right?
I don't
and also,
know
we're dealing with autism, so maybe it's supposed to be on the nose. Like, I don't know.
I was okay with some of the parts that were on the nose, and some of them were a bit more annoying. But then there were other parts that were totally incoherent. But I just figured that was all a translation thing.
Right, and that's, I don't know what was translation. I don't know if them trying to type it in and then the Google Translate spit out something and that's why it felt on the nose. It just, because there were also some grammatical lines in some of the dialogue that didn't quite make sense. That kind of, I also kind of chalk up to, like there was one sentence that didn't, I think it was missing a verb or something like that. And I'm like, that's probably because that sentence in this person's language doesn't have a verb, so they didn't know how to conjugate it properly. But
all right, Harpies. So this is the last 4 pages of issue 1 or something.
So it's 2 pages of issue 1, and then 2 pages or 6 pages.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's find out.
Yeah. It's 10 pages total.
Okay. Who would you like to narrate, good sir?
You may, Preston.
Okay. So we're going to be transitioning from issue 1 to issue 2?
Yeah, you'll know when it happens.
Okay. By the way, Danny, I sent you the first 3 issues of Palace. How do they look stitched together?
Did you?
Oh, yeah, I did. You didn't download the file.
Right, I didn't download the file.
Okay.
Well, I've been super busy with work stuff.
Long. And now I freaking deleted. Okay. How do I zoom in on Adobe?
Control or Command, scroll the wheel, and then mouse wheel.
Oh, there we go. Okay, that's so easy. All right. Exterior London day. Erin's seat parachutes into the rubble of the city. As soon as she lands, she releases harness. Moving to the back, she pulls out the headset to her portable radio.
Commander, do you copy?
Glancing upward, she watches as the SMS Urge von Hoppener ascends, passing overhead and southward, exiting the city.
Well done, Lieutenant. It looks like they're falling back for now.
Erin breathes a sigh of relief.
Thank God.
Retrieve the Avatar, or whatever is left of her, and return to the Duke.
Copy.
Erin hangs up the radio. Erin walks out into the street, littered with debris, 20mm shell casings, and bodies. Erin enters the building Long Fu crashed into.
Long Fu.
Erin enters the rubble of the building, finding Long Fu still lying on her back, arms outstretched.
That's not what you wrote.
Arms outstretched, you're right.
I mean, It's not like everyone seems to have machine translation issues these days, right, John?
Yes.
What?
Who's doing Long Fu's line?
5 more minutes.
Are you hurt?
Just my ego.
Time to go.
Long Fu picks herself up, brushing off the dirt and debris. Aaron stares at her in disbelief.
What?
You fell 5,000 feet and don't even have a scratch on you.
Long Fu is defined by her invincibility. Long Fu shrugs. Aaron rolls her eyes, heading out of the building. Exterior, Victoria Embankment, day. Aaron stands staring at the rubble of the Elizabeth Tower clock. Several boats dock as soldiers unload, racing into the city to assist. An army private approaches them.
Lieutenant Avatar.
Avatar, I'm here to take you back to the Duke.
Aaron doesn't hear. Her gaze fix on those searching through the rubble for lost loved ones.
Sweetie, our ride's here.
Aaron forces her emotion down. She turns to Long Fu, following her and the private back to the small boat to be continued. Exterior, Pyramid Plaza, Egypt, day. A massive archaeological dig site several kilometers from the Great Pyramids of Giza, visible in the distance. I feel so giddy because we get to continue past the to be continued. It's like when I was a kid and I was allowed to stay up late. Because to be continued, that meant
right
like
now.
Bedtime. Yeah, like right now. Oh, wow. Special treat. We got more story. Okay, the SMS Ursula von Hopner sits more just outside the dig site. Its shadow cast over tents set up underneath. Interior Expedition Chief's tent. Dave Miller stands in the largest tent, inspecting a hanging map with several areas crossed off.
Dr. Mayer, you have been combing this section of the desert for 6 months.
Dr. Mayer approaches, handing him a glass of water.
And we are closer than ever to finding the new Hecate stone. The radiation levels here.
Suddenly, a worker rushes into the tent.
Dr. Mayer, we found something.
Dig site. Several workers stand around, leaning into their shovels, taking a break as Mueller and Meyer approach. The workers get excited.
Del?
One of the workers slams their shovel down, clanging against a massive unearthed metal sheet. As they examine the discovery, it appears to be a massive buried metal object.
Okay, but what really is it? Your illustrator needs to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
don't hide things from your production team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did we do what is it?
What is it?
What is it?
Meyer takes out his Geiger counter, and the closer he places it to the metal, the clicking gets more frequent.
Aaron Moiler, this is it.
Turning to the workers, he shouts orders.
Quickly, dig it out.
The workers begin clearing dirt and sand from around the object, but the more they dig, the bigger the object appears to be. Exterior Allied observation post day. Several kilometers away, Aaron and Long Fu lay on the sand watching Mueller's workers dig.
Well, it looks like they actually found something.
Behind them are several Egyptian army soldiers standing nearby parked jeeps.
We going in?
Aaron gets up, brushing off the sand from her clothes.
Sergeant Bakir, get me in touch with the Duke.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it
Sergeant?
David?
The sergeant gets on the radio built into the back of the jeep.
You might be invulnerable, Long Fu, but last time you ran in half-cocked, you almost cost us the mission. Unless your dragon can conjure up an army for us.
I imagine I'd have to die again to ask him.
Did Long Fu die? I don't remember that. Anyway.
I don't remember that either.
Whatever. Well, apparently she did.
Yeah, cool. All right.
Yeah.
Then we wait for backup.
But bitch even beats death. All right. The sergeant returns.
He's an action figure.
Yeah, like she never dies. And that time she did die, she didn't really die. The sergeant returns holding the radio.
Colonel Smith, this is Lieutenant Rice. Looks like your intel was right. The Nazis have definitely unearthed something in Egypt.
Maybe they found the Sphinx's nose. Now that would be a discovery.
Copy that, Lieutenant. Wait to confirm visual before moving in. Roger, Colonel. I'm going to request a platoon from our Egyptian friends here so we can move in if needed.
Copy that, Lieutenant. Over and out.
Aaron hands the radio to Bakir.
All right, Sergeant. Have your men at the ready. We go on my command.
Yes, ma'am.
Exterior dig site day. As the diggers remove the sand from the metal object, Mayer notices some markings engraved on it.
Herr Moiler, see? It's a language.
It's a language.
Oh, so those Negroes could speak.
It's not a human language. You, Yunge? Come.
It means boy.
Sure, whatever.
As the workers come back with their shovels, Meyer points at some cracks between metal plates.
Yeah, pull these apart.
The workers slam the edge of their shovels into the cracks, and using them as a fulcrum, they pop the seal in the metal hatch, leading to an underground tunnel. Stale air belches from causing the workers... Stale air
that's a poorly
belches
written
from
I'm sorry.
causing the workers recoil backwards from the stench.
Yeah, I mean, machine translation seems to be losing its edge these days, John.
Mueller steps forward, leaning down and inside.
Hold on, did Mulby write that sentence?
I think
No,
I wrote that sentence.
I blame you. So we're in a mysterious...
Well, Dr. Mayer.
Yeah.
Yes, there we go.
Mayer steps forward, his Geiger counter going crazy. He grins from ear to ear with excitement. Interior mysterious changer, a fine copper dust lays across the metal floors on this mysterious underground room. Mayer and Miller climb down a ladder from the ceiling panel inside.
The air down here is bad.
Several soldiers armed with machine guns follow. They activate flashlights, illuminating some of the dark corners of the chamber.
Yes, the walls of chamber appear to be made of some kind of metal alloy, heavily oxidated.
The group steps cautiously forward towards the center of the room. They notice the silhouette of a tall humanoid figure sitting upon a chair. The Germans raise their machine guns, but quickly notice it does not move.
Where bist du's?
As they circle the chair, their eyes go wide with shock. Seated upon the chair, the decaying skeletal remains of a large-eyed alien sits on the chair. So I guess that's why it's seated upon the chair, then.
Well, yeah, you can't sit on the chair unless you're seated on the chair.
Exactly.
That's how
good.
English
Very
works.
good. All right. His
Yeah,
hands
if you got a problem, bring it up with the Department of Redundancy Department.
Exactly. His hands wrapped around the joystick controls mounted on the ends of the chair's armrests.
The Department of Redundancy Department? I see what you did there.
Yeah.
In all my years, I've not seen anything such as this.
Turning, they notice the alien captain faces a wall made of several small screens. On one of the monitors, a flashing white cursor.
Dr. Mayer, come.
Mayer walks up behind Mueller.
Electricity runs through these screens. This whole thing is a machine, not unlike your airship.
A speaker chirps some rhythmic but unintelligible noises, causing both men to lurch backwards from the screens. The Germans point their machine guns in all directions, but see no one.
What was that?
The speaker chirps again in three-syllable rhythm.
It must be part of the machine.
Who's going to draw that? The speaker chirps again in a three-syllable rhythm. Someone has to draw that.
I'll worry about that when I'm doing my comic conversion.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Miller smiles.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Chirp us, chirp our chirp machine.
Miller smiles.
It's mimicking us. It's alive.
That's not what you wrote.
It's mincing. We got minced.
Well, they're Nazis. They deserve to be minced, but that'll come later.
Yeah.
If you have an artist who actually reads the dialogue, this is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Chirp mimic, chirp alive.
They return to the blank screen.
Hello. Can you understand me?
Alien characters flash across the screen, scrambling together.
Guten Tag. Language synthesis completed. I am the onboard systems analyst designated Technec 0. And yes, I can understand you.
The two men exchange glances.
What are you?
As stated, I am the onboard systems analyst.
You are this machine.
Negative. You are currently standing in the starship Chirp Chirp. As an onboard systems analyst, my job is to monitor the control systems and ensure health and prosperity of my crew members.
Like that guy?
Meyer points to the dead alien captain.
Sadly, yes. Well, she doesn't like him? Our starship took damage and was forced land. Many of the crew perished during the landing, and the rest perished shortly thereafter.
And you have been here ever since.
Ja.
Your power core. It's a Hecate stone, correct?
Hecate stone. I am unfamiliar with this term.
It is a green glowing rock about the size of my fist.
Hecate stone. The term has been assimilated into my dictionary. Yes, the central power core of this starship is a Hecate stone. May I ask why this is of interest to you?
Miller smiles at the politeness of the ship.
Why, yes, you can, Fraulein. That is what we are here for.
I understand. Unfortunately, if removed, it will force the deactivation of this system.
I fail to see how that's my problem.
The last order of my starship captain was to send his final report to Star Command, but in this current position, I am unable to send a signal. I cannot allow my deactivation until my report is sent.
Miller and Meyer share a chuckle together.
I don't recall giving you an option.
Mission priority allows for self-defense protocols until the completion of the mission.
Your mission is complete.
Tear
this place. Yes, your mission is complete. Tear this place apart. Find that Hecate stone.
Just then, a Gatling laser drops from the ceiling and opens fire, spitting out hot plasma darts on the soldiers, piercing them through the chest. Mueller, Meyer, and a few surviving soldiers dive for cover, returning fire from cover. Mueller notices a green glow coming behind one of the screens. He draws a combat knife from a nearby soldier and throws it at the Gatling laser. The laser fires, turning the combat knife to liquid metal, providing him the distraction to charge forward. Leaping forward, he crashes through the screen, sending glass flying. The Hecate power core rests behind the screen in a central canister wired into a copper harness. The Gatling laser turns toward him, yanking the Hecate power core from the copper harness, causing all the systems within the starship to cease. Miller returns to his companions. Compatriots.
There must be more down here.
Yeah, Herr Mueller, but the radiation signature from this one is too strong. Will drown out any others. Take it back to your quarters for safekeeping, and we will keep searching.
Yeah, Dr. Meyer.
Mueller moves towards the exit with his prize as the others begin searching the interior of the ship. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we had this seems different than last time where Techno met Longfu and Aaron. Now Techno's meeting the villains of our story. So that changes things. We had Longfu cheating death in the past and living to brag about it. In this case, she once again emerges completely unscathed from whatever badness happened on the pages before, which I think involved her falling off of the Ernst von Hoppner and falling a few hundred, maybe 1,000 feet, whatever. Who cares? It doesn't. I wouldn't even if we saw her landing, but whatever. It happened off screen. She's fine. Everybody knew
it did happen off screen. It happened in Spirit of the Dragon.
Even better. All right. So happened off comic. You should put in a little editor's note. As told, like Stan Lee used to do that shit all the time. Like I read Spider-Man stuff back when a kid, and they would like drop in these lines, which I see kind of made its way over to the Marvel movies. But Stan Lee would always put these little asterisks. Editor's note, you should go buy this other comic to learn about this story. So yes.
Oh, they do that even today. Even
Yeah.
DC does that. It's insane.
So yes, as apparently told in some other comic book.
I'll talk to my editor about that.
Right.
And yeah, maybe we'll do that.
There you go. So
you have an editor?
There you go. But yeah, we have Long Fu and Aaron and Nazis and Tech-9 robot cat girl and an alien spaceship. I think that was everything.
Yeah.
Oh, and yeah. That's what we had. I mean, it was entertaining.
We had a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
There was so much stuff. There was a Sphinx chat and Pyramid and Arby and an action figure getting up in London and the Embankment and some dialogue and some dialogue and dialogue.
Yeah.
Dialogue and a spaceship and a TV screen and some dialogue. And
I'm going to turn into Larry, and I'm just going to stop bringing
dialogue.
I mean, is that what you guys want?
An action sequence, I guess.
Danny's he's harsher than I am. I was just saying stuff happened off comic and giving you an idea.
I was doing my constructive. Like there were successfully all of those things.
Okay, there we go.
Well, there was.
I'm happy that you present pages, and you're happy
and
that
your
you
machine
make money.
translation software is getting much better, Sean.
Yes, there you go. Were there constructives thrown in?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So the end of issue 1 was fine, I guess.
Right. All right.
Like it did its job, whatever. It's a good smash cut to the pyramids. That's a good way to do issue 2. Good job there. There was almost some conflict in issue 2, and then everyone sat around and watched 20 minutes of the worst part of like a mid-70s low budget, like sci-fi movie that wished it was Roger Corman. It was just people standing talking to a computer because someone found a vocoder for all of your pages. So yeah, there wasn't. I don't know, and I know this has come up before as you tried to write some kind of version of this scene with either Aaron and the gag or now Moiler at the gag. I don't think there's any version of this scene where people just talk to an empty room that works. Especially if you're doing an action-forward comic book. Like, just show them, like, going to the ship and then running out of the ship for dear life, holding a kate stone. Man, that was rough. We need to never be in here ever again. Also, was that an alien? Oh, fuck. Now there's the English trying to fight us. Like, there's no tension as to whether which side the alien's on. The alien explains themselves too much. And this is, like, the first time we see them. Like, aside from there's a cat body, woo. Like, you've introduced this entire character to way too much detail when actually you're going to have to explain this stuff later on to Aaron and Longfu, who actually care what the alien wants. Like, just have them go into a dangerous place, like unprotected from radiation, and come out with everybody dead. Like, you don't need to show all of this, and it's not really advancing the plot, because the plot advances when they get the stone, and since this is a new issue, they can just get the stone, and B, when our heroes have to deal with it, which we don't see in this issue yet. So that's my suggestion, is just get on with it and get to the fun part where our characters are actually in trouble.
Yeah, I think that would be like in when I look at the stakes of the scene, I mean, what's really compelling me to want to turn the page? At the end of these pages, what's changed? So the Germans have found a Hecate stone and an alien spaceship and an alien robot, and I guess that might be bad. What? Who?
She's not a robot yet.
Okay. I mean, I don't know that I'm worried that Long Fu isn't just going to beat everything senseless next time she gets involved.
We haven't met her yet, really, in this issue. She's there for a bit, making jokes.
Right. But like I feel like we're kind of building up to what Aaron and Long Fu are going to have to face. So far, I'm cheering for Aaron and Long Fu, and I'm pretty sure they're going to beat these stupid Germans and their silly alien robot. But maybe there's some whiz-bangery that they're going to, summon Nyarlathotep or something. I'm like, oh shit, Long Fu can't beat that. I don't know what's going to happen next. We'll see.
Well, hey, now they finally have the Hecate stone. Maybe they can finally punch Long Fu, and there might be some stakes.
Maybe, yeah.
But then John would have to write that and have someone actually punch Long Fu, so that's not going to happen.
Right.
That happened in the first issue, and then he threw her off the side of the ship.
Well, imagine how much worse she'd feel if she got punched by someone with, like, Hecate stone brass knuckles.
Well, yeah, I mean, she did get thrown off the side of the ship, but what happened when she got thrown off the side of the ship? I mean, I guess I'd have if I read Angel of Darkness 5, what would happen when she fell off the side of the ship?
She's not in Angel of Darkness 5. You mean Spirit of the Dragon 5?
Spirit of the Dragon 5, yeah.
Spirit of the Dragon 5, she takes a nuke to the face.
And comes out okay, I guess.
Well, that's after she got her dragon powers.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, again, if she's already gone through everything that we could possibly imagine, if she already faced the worst of 1930s steampunk diesel punk technology, right? Like, the worst thing you could possibly imagine in that kind of technology setting would be a nuclear device, and she's already beaten that. So what is this alien robot really going to threaten her with? I don't know.
Why are you? The alien robot's not a bad guy.
Oh, okay. Well, the alien robot's talking to bad guys, right?
Well, the alien robot makes that very clear early on, which is what I'm hoping that you move away from. Like, this is like 3 panels, like 4 panels.
The alien robot's just being polite. Why are you assuming that she's automatically going to side? They just tried to kill her.
I'm not. What it is
like that's what I'm going for here.
It's a tensionless scene. Like, they know where the thing is they want. They ask politely for it. She says no, so they just take it anyway. Some mooks get shot.
Yeah.
The way you shoot this is you put the camera on a hill really far away from the location. You have everybody walk into the cave. You wait a second. Okay. Panel 2, no dialogue. There's nobody there. Panel 3, you hear screams from the cave. Panel 4, the 2 bosses run out with the Hecate stone.
Yeah.
4 panels. It's only that's a single page of content.
Yeah.
That's the dramatic way to do it. Then we don't know what's there, and the reader might be surprised and interested because they want to know what that was because you didn't show it to them. This is like, showing off your monster in like the first 10 pages and then doing beauty shots of it. It ruins all the tension. You have a really good dramatic situation I know why you want to have the actual alien, but I mean, this version of it where you sit and talk to a bunch of speakers has so like little tension to it in every version so far. Like, maybe if they were worried they have to get out and they're in a rush because of like if they mentioned all of the radiation again, there might be a there. If the robot like drops guns on everyone who's like, get the fuck off my ship. No, look, we just want your power core. Yeah, well, I need that power core. I will shoot you. Okay, screw you. We're going to chance it. That's a scene. And then the machine's so angry, it makes itself a body to go hunt it down. That's a character. But that's not what you've given us. You've given us a whole bunch of dialogue and then a bunch of mooks dying with laser blasts. Like, this is your first 10 minutes of a script, and you're giving us the exposition fairy?
All right, we got La Vignette, the Vigilante.
La Vigilante.
La Vigilante.
Is that the one with the kids and the weird telenovela energy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah, and
He
she
did
has, like,
rewrite.
lips and shit.
Yeah.
From that one scene where she was Chun-Li.
Yeah, and
Yes.
apparently this guy, I think, posted DMs of himself messaging Coffin Comics saying, "Hey, I can write for you. Would you like to read my comic book scripts?" And them saying, "No, thanks. We are not hiring writers at this time."
But people hire writers in comics?
Yeah, you gotta really simmer down on your expectations here. The idea that you're just gonna stroll up to Coffin and go, "Hey, you want me to write for you?" and have him go, "Sure." Like, come on, seriously, come on. Anyway, opening scene. Who wants
Hold
to
on,
read?
John, have you narrated yet?
No, I'll narrate.
Go for it.
All
Gotta
right.
get Preston a break.
Yeah.
You can put on his acting hat.
There we go.
Oh yeah, that's great.
All right,
Opening
Preston,
scene.
we're acting today.
Let's do this.
Exterior, Megacell Stadium, evening. We open outside of Megacell Stadium after a Lucha Libre event. Young Katrina, a 7-year-old girl wearing a jean jacket and a colorful long sleeve shirt with braided hair, stands with her older brother Tony, a tall, slim, athletic 19-year-old. Tony wears a t-shirt and jeans with slick back hair.
Pausing for a second. This is like page 1. Didn't we read this already?
He rewrote it.
Oh, did okay.
And I only a minor thing. Why is young Katrina not wearing pants?
I mean, why should she wear pants?
Yeah.
Well, she's
This
7.
is a John Lamont script.
Not with 7-year-olds.
Look, this is the
I
horrifying
walked into that one, didn't I?
future.
All right.
But I just noticed, like, he's describing her clothing, but doesn't mention what pants she's wearing. But
Yeah.
Tony's wearing a t-shirt and jeans. I don't know. Just
Maybe she's wearing like an adult size jean jacket as a dress. You don't know.
like a jumper.
Sure.
Okay. Anyway, sorry, I don't. Anyway, with slick back hair.
That
was awesome, Tony.
Sure was, Cat.
Yeah. Did you see how La Diabla flipped and slammed on top of Cedro Fatal?
You see a woman in all red she-devil costume slamming on top where out of nowhere.
No, I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, you do. See, it
No,
says
no,
right
no,
there.
no, I
You
don't.
see a
You
woman
see.
in an all red
No, I don't.
she-devil costume slamming on top of another wrestler wearing a pig mask and a pig mask.
I'm not
in a
on
wrestling
drugs. No, I
ring.
don't.
Yeah.
Yes, you do, because it says so.
It says Yuzi. I don't know how he
So,
survived
has this
that.
been an efficient object lesson to why to never use a second person? Cool.
Exactly.
Preston, you're Tony.
Yeah, I don't know how he survived that.
So amazing.
True professionals. What a show.
Tony and Katrina scurry across the lot toward the crowd.
Why are you in such a hurry?
There's some friends I want to avoid.
Friends?
No apostrophe. Yes. They, different they, just so annoying. Come on, let's catch the next metro.
They walk into a churro vendor as they cross the street. That's gotta hurt.
Can you buy me a churro?
What about dinner?
Please, Tony.
Only one.
Thanks, big bro.
Un churro, senor.
Tony calls out to the middle-aged churro vendor and hands him a few coins. He then turns around as Katrina collects her churro with a smile.
Un churro, mija.
Suddenly, a mysterious gang member walks up.
Hey, Tony.
We hear a loud bang.
Uh-oh.
Blood splatters on the scene.
Oh.
People scream out. Young Katrina stares wide-eyed at her churro. Her Her brother's body drops by her feet with a thud. We hear tires screeching as a car leaves the scene. She's never going to be able to enjoy a churro again in her life.
It's gone. Yeah.
Interior Katrina's bedroom night. Katrina, now an adult. Okay, now she can take her pants off.
Let's do it.
Wakes up from her nightmare, panicking in her own bed. Her alarm sounds, the clock showing 4 a.m. Katrina now has long, wavy black hair and an athletic build with green eyes and a thin face. She's wearing a lace top and underwear and no pants, just the way we like them. Interior Katrina's bathroom continuous. Because she walks to the bathroom, sits on the toilet, reads her messages, gets up, looks in the mirror, and talks to her AI partner, Gypsy.
Gypsy, what's on my agenda today?
Agenda for October 29th, 6 a.m. Nociero, 9 a.m. photo shoot, 10 a.m. lunch alone.
Invite Carolina.
Invite sent.
Continue.
2 p.m. training, 4 p.m. dinner alone, 6 p.m. prayer, 10 p.m. kick-ass.
Gypsy, message Carolina.
What would you like to write?
I'm up at 4, can you believe it? Any update on Mendoza? Come see me after the rush send.
Sending.
Gypsy, play morning playlist.
Music plays as Katrina brushes her teeth, washes her face, and exits the bathroom. Interior Katrina's apartment continuous. Katrina kicks her vacuum robot to start cleaning.
Wake up.
Katrina puts on her tracksuit, walks into the kitchen, makes a smoothie, gulps it down, throws her phone in her backpack, slings it on, and walks out the door. Exterior Katrina's apartment continuous. Katrina exits, gets on her electric motorcycle parked downstairs in the alley.
Systems on. Charge complete. No events to report.
Katrina puts on her helmet and takes off. She cruises the highway, and we see a futuristic city backdrop. Sueda Santa Rosa is a flourishing city vibrant with neon cyberpunk aesthetic. Its population consists of a lithium and metals manufacturing workforce, as well as tax haven for startup tech firms, all eager to exploit the population's money-hungry politicians. Exterior Neocom Tower 1. Dawn. 2 towers stand side by side in District 2. Katrina arrives at Nociero Building, Neocom Tower, and flashes her ID card at the gate, but has trouble opening it. The guard reader beeps and flashes red. Paco, a young security guard, tall with black hair, greets her and opens the gate as she heads inside.
Can you let me in? My badge is acting up again. Wait, she's already heading inside.
Of course, Senora Miraflores should have a new one ready soon. Congrats on your new role.
Thanks, Paco.
Interior Neocom Tower 1. News Studio Dawn. Katrina enters the Santa Rosa studio by 5:45 a.m. She's preparing to go live on the air with her director, Rodrigo, and her co-host, Lupe, and other members of her production team and assistants. The newscast starts.
Why doesn't she just prepare to go live?
Why don't we just cut to her being live?
Yeah.
And why does the time matter? I mean, is there a clock on the wall?
I mean, if you show it as like a TV monitor, I guess there'll be a chiron.
Yeah.
But then that's what you should say in the art direction.
Well, yes.
Yeah, and all right, so this seems like not the open of a newscast, right? That's not your opening line, the search. So we're kind of opening up in the middle of the newscast, or at least
it was like 6:20 a.m.
Yeah,
halfway through the newscast.
Yeah, and like we're not preparing to go live. We're live. We're broadcasting right now. All right.
I mean, maybe she's like reading off the teleprompter. That's a terrible scene. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Okay. The search for Nadia Mendoza continues after her disappearance last week. If you know of her whereabouts, please contact the missing persons hotline at 666-2411. In other news, authorities are still searching for the woman in black who appears in multiple videos across social media.
That's right, Katrina. She's wanted in connection to last week's shooting in the Red Neon District. 6 gang members were arrested, 2 people were injured, and 1 is still in critical condition. Citizens on the social media are calling her La Vigilante.
Witnesses interviewed after the incident said she helped and rescued victims of the assault. The ones responsible are believed to be gang members known as maniacos.
Coming up, we interview the CEO of AI Industries and ask him.
That name was written by AI.
No, it's III, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, and ask him a few questions of his upcoming software update 6.1.6 on all devices. Yeah, we're like the end of the show.
Yeah.
But it just started. Now
it's actually the middle because they're about to go interview somebody that we're talking to see.
Right. Okay.
Interior Neocom Tower 1 dressing room later. Katrina is seated in front of the mirror in her dressing room.
Why doesn't she just sit in front of the mirror in her dressing room?
I mean, technically, Marta is doing the action, so Marta should just be removing Katrina's makeup.
Yes. Marta removes. Yes.
Yes. The person doing the action should be first.
Yes. There we go.
Anywho, so Marta's doing stuff. She's 40s, short with black hair. Katrina's best friend and coworker, Carolina, late 20s with curly brown hair, enters.
Hey, Kat, got your message. Hi, Marta. Buenos dias.
Buenos dias, Senora Carolina.
Check it out, Caro. This mirror uses interactive AI. Show her Marta.
Magic mirror, preset 3.
I'll take Marta, sure.
Okay. The mirror changes Katrina's hair color and style.
Do the funny one.
Magic mirror preset 6.
The mirror changes Katrina to a strange, extravagant hairstyle and makeup.
Ha! That's so you love it.
Right? Who wouldn't fall in love?
They both laugh.
Thank you. Oh, wait, sorry. Yeah.
Thank you, Marta. That's all for now.
See you after the break, mija.
Marta walks out and Carolina closes the door. Katrina spins around to face Caroline.
What you got?
As you know, social
Why
media...
are you telling her?
Yeah.
She already knows.
Social media is going crazy. All the net sleuths are hard at work on this case, so we gotta hurry if we're gonna break anything. That's a weird gonna spelling.
Some things had to come up from the leads I gave you.
Well, I found her best friend, Diane Alvarez. She lives in Haciendas Rojas.
In D3, that's right by me.
She could have been the last person to see Nadia that night.
So she may be a suspect.
Not exactly. Nadia's family vouches for her, and the interrogation was clean.
She hands Katrina some papers.
How'd you get this?
Some favors. Remember that Huacho Matiacas?
You called in that favor?
Had to.
Katrina peers down at the paperwork.
Good. Looks like she cooperated, but there might be some more juice to squeeze.
Don't stop there. Nadia had a couple posts with a new boyfriend.
That's a good lead. We need to find out more.
Well, she recently dropped out of college and she began working at the Machina warehouse.
What about the last day she reported to work?
She worked the first shift that day.
Co-workers?
Staying silent for now.
From the social media response, she was very well known in the community. Someone has to know more.
So far, we've only been able to interview her parents, and we got a lot of heat for that.
Totally worth it. Any other friends?
A few. But the one that stands out is Dinah. Yeah. She is all over Nadia's Insta Snap. Seems they were very close.
Send me her info. I could go for a walk tonight.
Why do I need to know that? Who needs to know that? All
No,
right.
now they need to exchange phone numbers, right?
Yeah.
I remember that.
Cat, focus on your
We
new
did
role.
our 10 pages.
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, well, we had stuff. We had media people. We had a newscast. We have a heroine, La Vignette. Have we seen her on screen? Like,
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
No.
Yeah. So we just know of her because the news tells us she's out there.
The news told by the same person is telling us that she's out there.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. We're following a reporter. A reporter seems like the focus of our story at Open, who is telling us about La Vignetta and is talking to other people about her. And hooray. So there you go. Danny.
Well, that opening scene is still good. The scene in the house is still okay. And there's a perfectly good, sexy cyberpunk intro. And you certainly wrote some dialogue in that news station.
Yes.
So you've done all of the things.
John.
Let's see. Yes, the opening scene was good. I liked it when the adult version had no pants on. And it's cyberpunk. I mean, I'm almost always hooked when it comes to cyberpunk stuff, so it's hard to find a good cyberpunk story. So
This brings me to my constructive.
Go
You
ahead.
know what's at the core of like those early cyberpunk stories and the really memorable ones? They're noir stories
Yes.
where the hero, and stop me if you've heard this one before, is a detective.
Right. Yes. Like,
And so let me
Blade
tell
Runner.
you,
yeah.
although the use thing seems like a good idea, I expected them to leave that makeup room into a police station because that was police station dialogue 101.
I mean, you can do the investigative reporter thing, but she actually needs to do. I'm sorry, am I cutting you
She
off?
needs to go investigate.
Right.
You don't get the police report and just go through all the priors and like interrogate the coworkers. If you're an investigative reporter, that's the hard part. They don't have to talk to you. Usually the police get really angry when you don't talk to them, and they tend to have weapons who they're allowed to use, and they can look into you and arrest you and shit. Although people don't like it, they kind of have to talk to the police. That's how a society functions. People don't have to talk to investigative reporters.
Right.
And investigative reporters have none of those things, like threats of violence implicit in their very existence.
Mm-hmm.
Which means you've got to actually show the work. All of that information that you just gave us, that could well be the story for like the first 30 pages of this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And watching that process is more compelling than hearing about it.
Or just starting with La Vigilante kicking ass.
Right. Yeah. Like I really have
doing
to.
the investigation.
Yeah. Why are we spending so much time on this reporter? I don't know.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Like-
hold on.
Like, why is
We
she not
could
like
we
in the
could
neighborhood?
cut this entire 10-page sequence and not even have the reporter in the story except as like this brief on-air personality. And what would take its place, right? Would I be watching La Vigilante? Like, what would the story be if it wasn't watching this reporter talk about La Vigilante? That's what I'd like to know.
Hey, Preston, you remember that really famous comic where the teenager becomes a superhero and continually gets jobs at this newspaper where he has to hunt himself down in his
Spider-Man.
alter ego?
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you heard of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty obscure.
Right.
Man, that's a really good repeatable story structure, isn't it?
Yes. Absolutely. Oh. Yeah, you know, it's
Dude, Reeves was Spider-Man.
yeah.
Like that's interesting where it's like, oh, okay, my boss is putting me on this case and I can't actually solve it. but also I need to do something or else I'm going to get fired. What do I do? That's a conflict.
Right.
Here, these people are getting involved because they want to, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, it doesn't look like effort. So it's not very compelling.
Right.
No one's made a choice yet in any of these pages.
No.
Oh, sorry. Her brother made a choice to buy her a churro and got murdered for it.
That's right. Yeah.
That's why that scene is memorable. Someone made a choice.
Yeah. I feel like beginning writers like start looking at screenplays as having to follow the chronology of their fantasy. So what's the inciting incident for what caused the formation of my hero? Oh, this childhood trauma. That's the first thing that happens if I put on a timeline of events. So I'm going to open with the childhood trauma. This could have been like a backstory reveal in Act 2. Like, you know.
I mean, you say that scene with the trauma is what's keeping us reading. Let's be honest.
There you go. All right.
Well,
at this point, in this version,
yes.
Honestly, like, you should write all of this stuff. Then you should take it, highlight all of it, hit Control X, open up a new document, hit Control V, and take out all the boring parts.
Yeah.
And then you still have it in case you need it, or you need to put it in a flashback or whatever. But like the local investigative reporter stuff, I mean, there's a good formula for that. You walk around the neighborhood, and that neighbor that you say hi to is suddenly having a bad day. You stop to talk to them. Oh, my daughter didn't come home last night. I hope she just got laid. I'm sure she's fine. The next day, oh God, she's not back yet. What do I do? You can show these things happen and like affect people. I like that you put the missing woman in our protagonist's neighborhood. That's good. But like, why is this person involved aside from like it? It's still like, you're not giving us that. Big techno, except there's a protest. Why won't the police listen? They're all from the poor area. What, is she not white enough for you? Okay, well, this person lives, our reporter lives in the neighborhood and is like, well, this is a local girl. If she's not white enough, I'm going to go do the job the police won't. That's a story. There's lots of good versions of this that don't overwhelm us with exposition this early.
Yeah, if I can bounce off of Danny's comment, character motivation. Does every character? What is every character's individual motivation? From Katrina, I mean, I typically look at it when I look at my stuff. I go by named characters. I look at my named characters and what are their individual motivations, not just in that scene, but in general. The motivation, the goal that they have in mind that put them in that scene, and then and then focus on that motivation, and are they moving toward that goal, whatever it is that the character wants to accomplish with their life or with that particular driving force, and then use that motivation as a way of driving your conflict. Because and also think too, like, again, you're not yet named characters. Like, what about your bad guy? So what is your bad guy's motivation? Whoever kidnapped this woman or whatever, because I'm assuming that's the case. Right, the dude that we met like last time that she like killed the first time she met him. Like, what is his motivation and what is he doing? And make sure that all the characters are acting in character with their particular motivations, because because that also can help you with driving that conflict, because the conflict comes when two characters' motivations are in conflict with each other. And that's where I think if focus on that more, than simply people standing around talking. And if you're doing high action, then you need a bigger action scene in your beginning. Going these 10 pages without an action scene in an action story is not really I would say it's not acceptable, but I don't feel like we're building up to anything. It's just kind of like people standing around talking. I don't see any tension rising to that where, okay, shit's going to hit the fan. Or if you want to do more of a detective noir thing, then obviously it's not going to be high action, but she should be out there on the ground investigating things. And, like Danny said, what if you can keep her an investigative reporter and just having her try to find somebody in the neighborhood? And, again, this is cyberpunk. This is the future. You've got corrupt bureaucracies. You've got corrupt police departments. It can be any number of reasons. Maybe the kidnapper, has something to do with, I don't know, maybe the police are just overbooked because, the rich people, some rich kids, some rich dude's kid, some rich guy who funds the police pension fund, his kid is out on a drug bender. So all the police are out looking for him, and they don't have any time to go look for this, who gives a crap lady in this poor neighborhood. Here you have conflict and you've got things, and now she's trying to fight the system and get information, and nobody's willing to help her, and that kind of stuff. That's conflict. That makes things more interesting than them just sitting around talking about things.
I have an idea if you really want to stick with this reporter thing, which is don't put her in the studio. Have her be the on-the-ground reporter in the area talking about this, with the van, with the satellite hookup and all of that stuff. Put her on the street. Have her interview someone. And then at the end of the day, don't have her be sitting in makeup. That's not very sympathetic. Have her be okay, well, now I'm going to go to the local bodega and get a sandwich. Or where'd the taco truck guy go? He was always on this corner. Oh, all right. He's actually helping to look for this little girl. Well, damn it, I can't get lunch. What will I do? That's all you need to get us involved in this story.
Katrina and the search for lunch.
I am a hundo P behind this. That's a conflict. That's man versus nature.
Yeah.
You don't need to give us a lot, but you need to give us something.
All right, fine, taco guy. I'll help you find this missing person if you would just make me a taco. Not quite like that, but
yeah. And those were the scripts we had, I think, for this week.
Alrighty.
All right. Hopefully next week I will have some pages. I keep endeavoring, but
I keep staring at my in progress work.
There you go.
I need to write something.
Yes. All right. Awesome.
Well, you finished Angel of Darkness 1, so now you should have some time.
There you go.
I do have some more time, actually. And we finished, we're nearly finished Palace 4. So it's just a matter of me making time for stuff coming into the weekend, I think. Fingers crossed. So hopefully some writing will happen.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.